Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah and day 11 of the Christmas Craft Countdown, where I'm sharing a brand new Cricut project to make with a Christmas theme every day for 20 days. Today we're making not one cute little penguin, not even two cute little penguins. We are making 3 cute little penguins from cardstock with our Cricut machine. You get all 3 of these adorable cardstock designs included in today's download. There are so many things you could use these penguins for. You could put them on a greetings card or in a shadow box if you made them a little bit bigger. They'd be perfect on scrapbooking pages as embellishments, or you could use them as a gift tag by writing on the back, or put a magnet on the back and put them on your refrigerator. You could add a loop to the top and use them as Christmas tree decorations. It really is up to you. The possibilities with these penguins are so endless. First up, I'm going to show you just how to make them and how to layer all the pieces together. But then if you are looking for a little bit more of a step-by-step in how you could use them, I'll show how to turn them into decorated greetings cards. We'll use Cricut Design Space to build up the background of this scene, and although you could of course follow along with the same images, you could use the tricks and tips I'm about to show you with any images you want to make your own custom cards. I love how cute they are. This is perfect for Christmas, and let's get started. The files for this project are free for the next 24 hours. Here's how to download them. Register a free ticket for the Christmas Craft Countdown at craftwithsarah.com/Christmas25. After registering, you'll get an email which contains a link to the schedule page for the countdown. Visit the schedule page to find and download today's files. Each download is only available for free for 24 hours after it goes live. If you've missed some, check out the Instant Access Bundle at craftwithsarah.com/Christmas25 bundle, which gives immediate and ongoing access to all of the files from the Christmas Craft Countdown, plus loads of extra bonus designs. Or purchase just the design from this video at craftwithsarah.com/products. To find the designs from this countdown, click into the Occasions filter and choose Christmas. The designs will appear here each day once the free versions have expired. The download comes in a zip folder. You need to unzip this before uploading the SVG files into your cutting machine software. For instructions on how to use the cut files, visit craftwithsarah.com/help and choose Cricut, Silhouette or Scan and Cut. Within there are dedicated help guides on topics such as how to upload SVGs, how to modify them to make custom projects, framing tips, and how to cut cardstock with your type of machine. If you have any questions, email hello@craftwithsarah.com. Now, on with today's project. Here's what all the penguins look like when uploaded into Cricut Design Space. Each penguin comes as its own separate SVG file, so if you want to make all 3, you'll need to go through the upload process 3 times, once for each penguin design. All of the penguins load in at 4 inches tall, which is the size I usually make these cute animals. I've got lots of different animals in this style. If you'd like to see the rest of them, make sure you watch around to the end of the video. If you're just making one of them, it's fine to leave them as is, or of course you can make it bigger or smaller. But if you're making all 3 of them together, I think it's a little bit nicer to change the sizes to put them in proportion with each other a little better. After all, the baby penguin looks very big compared to the other ones. I'm going to keep the rock hopper and the grown-up penguin at 4 inches tall and resize the smaller one. To resize, click the design. Make sure the padlock icon between the width and height boxes is closed. If yours is open, click it to close it. And I am going to go, I think, just maybe 2 3/4 inches tall. Let's have a look at that. How does that look in proportion? That might be a little too small. Maybe 3 inches tall. There we go. That looks better. He fits a little bit more in proportion. If you're doing all 3 at the same time, it's a nice idea to check the colours to combine any similar ones. To do that, go over to Material Colours on the top right of the screen. I can see here I've got two colours that are pretty much black, so I can drag one into the other and then it will only need one of that kind of cardstock. Then there's a dark grey used for the rock copper penguin, so I'll keep that. And then we've got two lighter greys on the baby penguin. They're on the same design, so they need to stay. I've got one orange, one pink for the cheeks, one lot of white, one yellow, and one darker orange. The oranges, I think, can be combined. They're very similar. Or drag and drop and put them to the same. If you don't combine it, then you'd need to put in your orange colour twice on two separate mats. But by combining it, we can do it all together. For now, let's see how to cut just the penguins on their own. And then after that, and after you've seen me put them together, then we'll look at turning them into a greetings card. That way, if you're not into card making, you can see the important bit about the penguins and how to put them together first. All right, so when you're ready, click on Make, and that will separate out all the colours for you. You can change the paper size in the drop down here. And then if you want to, you can click and drag to move things about to take up less space on your cardstock. Just make sure when you're moving things about that nothing overlaps, otherwise it won't cut out properly. So just by taking a few seconds to move those about, I've now got all of this bottom area of my piece of card empty, which means nothing will be cut from it, so I can use this bit on another project another day. As these designs are small, they only need a little bit of some of the colours, and I could drag that beacon there because that will be cut out of the middle. So it's great for using up your scraps. When you're happy with how all the colours are looking, press continue to connect to your Cricut and follow the on-screen instructions to get everything cut from cardstock. Here's my first little penguin. I've cut all the pieces out and laid them one on top of each other, following the assembly guide included in the download folder. Now, I've had to zoom my camera in as far as it can possibly go because the penguin is so small, so I apologise in advance for my massive hands on the screen. But I wanted to do it at the size to show how nicely these cut when they're small. The hardest bit is the beak, because that's a teeny tiny piece. All the others are much bigger. Okay, so let's move these bits apart. I used a shimmery black card because I thought that would look like kind of wet penguin feathers, but I'm now a little bit worried it might look a bit creepy on the eyes, like they're glinting. We'll see. Alright, so the bottom layer for this penguin is the orange one, and then on top of that we've got the body layer, which is the full white, and this will go on with foam squares. The foam squares I'm using are from Dot & Dab, but any will do. These are 5x5mm, which is great for these teeny tiny penguins, and 2mm thick. We'll also be using glue for some of the layers. I'm using Barely Art glue, but I also like Halal. The reason I like these glues is they don't bend or wrinkle the card like some glues can do. Okay, so let's add some foam. If you're making a greetings card and you don't want your penguins to be so thick, you could glue all the pieces together instead. They'll still look lovely, and in fact that's what I'm going to do in the second half of this video when I show how you can design a card in Cricut Design Space. If your foam squares are too big to fit in the areas like the wings, then you can get some scissors and simply cut your foam squares to make them smaller. I struggled then to think of what to call them. I was thinking flippers, but wings? Is it wings on a penguin when they can't fly? Are they still called wings? I don't know. Arms? Now I'm peeling the tops off of my foam squares to release the sticky underneath. Then this will line up. I've got little bits of red glitter all over this because I was cutting it at the same time as the Day 16 project, which is very glittery, and it seems to have contaminated my penguins with red glitter. There we are. And then next up is this black piece with the two little holes in it. I've been asked before why I do the eyes on my designs like this, where it uses the whole bit of cardstock, even though all we're going to see is a little bit for the eyes, the same as this white bit. All we're actually going to see from it is filling in those two holes. And the reason is, especially for small designs, if I did the eyes as just circles, white and black circles to stick on top, it makes them very small and they're very hard to glue in place. And also it's hard to get them exactly level. By doing it as cutouts like this, and then the white on top, having another cutout to make the eyes, it means they'll be in exactly the right place and it's much easier to stick together. And by doing it the full size of the whole bit of the layer, so the whole penguin body, it means that when it's all glued together, it all stays nice and level because you're building up all the cardstock all the way down. If I put 2 extra layers just under this bit, it means this bit would be a little bit lower than everything else. It won't quite be flat and just doesn't look as good overall. Alright, so we've got this bit next, but before we glue this on, we need to fill in the cheeks. Turn that over. And for the cheeks, I have done this one little bit as a separate piece. If it's just one layer, it's okay. But if I'd have done this and both of the eyes, it would have ended up not being level like I was just talking about. I've put that over the bottom ovals, which is the cheeks. You can see they're now filled in with the pink. I think it's just personal preference really from a designer's point of view with how things like eyes and little tiny bits like that are done. But let me know in the comments what you think. Do you like that it all remains nice and level, or would you rather it was smaller pieces so it took up less of your cardstock? This glues on top. Looks a bit creepy right now. Okay, next up is this one for his black part of the body. You can either glue this or use foam squares. I want a bit more dimension. I'm going to do the foam. And I'll need some of my smaller pieces again. Make sure your foam doesn't go over any edges, otherwise you'll be able to see it when we turn this round, which we don't want. The small bits are kind of hard to stick on and to remove the tops off, but it's worth getting the foam into those extra pieces, I think. And then I just want one more in there. Line it up. Gently drop down so that if you need to, you can move it about. That's looking good. Push down to stick. And then finally the beak on top. I find it easier to add the glue directly on there. It looks like a smile. And then the pointy bit on the beak. I don't know if you can see. The pointy bit on the beak faces upwards. This is the hardest bit because it's small. That's why I didn't want to do the eyes like that. And that's 1 penguin out of 3. Finished. Next up is the rock hopper penguin. So once again, we start at the bottom, and next up is the white to do with foam squares. Line it up, and I'm actually going to pick it up because I think that'll be easier to see. I want to make sure those top bits on his head are really well lined up because they're very thin. There we go, that looks good. Then next is this bit, and unlike the previous penguin, this time I'm going to glue this bit on because the dimension will come in the fluffy bits on his head rather than this bit. Next up are his eyes, starting with the white to glue on. The fluffy bits on the edges to see exactly where to put it. And then the black to glue. Then foam squares for the yellow. Oop, just dropped it. Check I've got it the right way around now. Doesn't quite go all the way to the top, this bit. I think that's the wrong way round. Yeah, that's the front. Okay. Turn it over carefully this time. So line it up using the beak to see where to put it. And then you'll have some of the black over at the top still visible. And then lastly, glue on the beak. He looks kind of serious and a little bit evil, but I kind of like it. The glinting eyes, I think, add to his evil look. Last up, we've got teeny tiny baby penguin. Look how small he is compared to the others. All right, so this time we've got the base with his feet, and then next up is the white. This will be done with foam squares. I think this time I'm not going to worry about getting a foam square into his wings. Of course, you don't have to make them this small. You can make them as big as you want, but I wanted them to look in proportion with the others and to also keep in line with the other cute animal designs already on my website. I'll show you those once we've finished up with the penguins. There's that one. And then we'll glue on the next body piece. Then the next one for his head is the solid white to do with foam squares. Then we've got the one with the little black cutouts to glue on. Then the last white piece, but before this is glued on, we need to fill in the cheeks. Turn it over, add a little bit of glue around those cheeks, and stick the pink strip over them. Turn it over to make sure you've not accidentally got any of that pink in the eyes or missed any. I've missed it a little bit there. Wiggle it around before the glue dries. Then glue this on top. And we've got the black to go on top. And finally his beak to glue on. And just like with the first penguin, the pointy bit goes upwards. And there we go, there's baby penguin, big penguin, and rock hopper penguin all finished. They're now ready to use in whatever way you want. If you're going to put magnets on the back to put them on the fridge, or put them on a scrapbook page, or a greetings card, or put them in a frame, or anything else you could possibly think of. You could even stick some ribbon on the back and use it as a gift tag. Endless opportunities with these. But what I thought might be helpful would be if I showed you how you could turn these into a greetings card in Design Space. Now, you would do the greetings card before you actually cut out the penguins so you know all the sizes. But as I explained at the beginning, I wanted to show the penguins first in case the greetings card wasn't relevant to your particular project. But if it is and you want to make a card, let's go back to Design Space and see how to do it. Let's turn our cute penguins into a greetings card. For my card, I'm only going to use these two penguins. So goodbye, Mr. Rockhopper, for now. I'm going to delete you and bring you back for another project another time. Move these over to the side so I've got a bit more designing room, and then go into shapes and choose a square. This will be the base of my card. I'm making a 5x7 inch card, so I need to click the padlock between the width and the height boxes to open it up so that I can type a different measurement into each of those. I'm going 10 for the width and 7 for the height, so when it's folded in half, that'll be my 5x7 card. What design you put on the front is completely up to you. You could keep it quite traditional and go for rectangles on the front of different colours or patterned paper, or you could do what I'm about to do, which is to build up a contextual scene for your penguins to go in. I'm going to make it look like they're outside in the snow. So for my base card, I'm thinking the sky probably makes sense for this colour. So we'll change it to a blue. That's very bright. I want more of a subtle blue. More like that, a nice light blue. I'll add a score line to the middle of this at the end. For now, let's find some images to go on the front. It's already picking up penguins because it knows that I've put penguins onto the project. It's got a clever little algorithm in it that seems to be able to read whatever you insert on your canvas. I'm not quite sure how I feel about that, but it's okay because we can just type something else in the search at the top. I put in snowdrift and that got me some nice images. I have the Cricut Access subscription, so I'll be able to use these images without paying. If you don't have the Access subscription, there would be an additional charge per image that you use if you choose one that is included in Access. You can also upload your own SVG files that you find elsewhere if that's your preferred way of working, but to keep things simple, I'm going to go for the Cricut Access images. I like this one over here. It's really simple and it will fit nicely on the front of my card. Resize it down to the width of the card, which is 5 inches. And I think I'll have it kind of around here. And then I want to build up a snowdrift in front and then maybe something else, depending on how we get to. A nice thing to search for to find wavy images that's great for using as backgrounds is to search for hill. You can see I've got it in here. I'm looking for simple one colour, one layer images for this. And that one is kind of exactly what I want. I'll have that a little bit squidged up so it's not quite as dramatic. And I'm dragging this out of proportion, so it is squidging up a bit. For an image like this, it doesn't really matter. Maybe down to about there. And that will also need to be 5 inches wide. I'll fill in this gap at the end. And then I think I kind of just want that snowdrift here to go to the bottom of the card. I'll make it white and also make a rectangle white. Make that 5 inches wide, untick the padlock, and kind of join it on here. And that'll go down to the bottom. Now I can select my hill, press Shift and choose the rectangle, and then go align and line left to make sure they're perfectly aligned. Check it's 5 inches in total, which mine is, and then click the new More Tools icon on the top left, and then in this menu bar, go to Weld. That's join them together into one. For my hill at the back, I need to fill in this gap, so we'll go for another square and align that to the right. I've positioned the square so it perfectly covers all the bit down there, and then we'll weld them into one. Drag the hill on top. I want to cut these two background pieces so that they perfectly split along where you can see that hill line. That way they'll push up against each other on the front of my card without any cardstock overlap. I'll be able to cut off all of this bit that you see here. And that is good because it means it won't be so thick to post. To do that, first I'll make a copy of the hill and duplicate it over here, and then align center to put them exactly one on top of the other. And then I'll select the hill as well. You see I've now got all 3 of these, and press align right to align them with each other. It should now show as 5 inches wide if your pieces go all the way to the edge. If not, it means one of them is too wide and you'll need to work out which one, put it down to 5 inches and then align them again. All right, click away, click the hill, and select one of the ones in front, the snowdrift, and press slice. If you can't see the slice button, click the pencil icon along the top first. Slice cuts things out of each other, so now I can drag away my first hill and that bottom bit here, and then delete them with the delete key, or click the trash can icon underneath. Now I've got two shapes that perfectly go along each other. Drag a box around everything and press align right to put that up against the edge of the card. Because I just clicked and moved things, they're not perfectly aligning now. You can work it out with your arrow keys if you want to. Alright, I reckon a nice silvery colour for the back trees, so it looks like they're a bit snowy as well. And then bring the penguins in. If they're underneath everything else, you can press arrange, bring to front to move them to the top. And I think I'm going to need to make these even smaller, probably around there for that one. So that's about 3 3/4 inches tall on the grown-up penguin. My small one, I've done 2.6. That's probably a bit too tiny. Let's not make the Cricut work too hard. I'll go 2 3/4 inch for baby penguin. It's looking good, but I think it needs a bit more context to make the baby penguin look like he's closer than the one behind. Otherwise, the perspective is a little off. Have another look at the hills. Maybe another snowdrift. Let's see. Maybe one like that. Oh, actually, I quite like that one. Just that simple red one. Put it there. That could be another snowdrift under the penguin. Why are you not dragging underneath? There we go. It was just being awkward. I'm not quite sure I like it in the grey. Maybe it could be water and baby penguin is having a little splash in some water. I like that better. It brings in the blue of the sky, finishes it off nicely. I think I'm happy with my card now. I like the layout. I like how the penguins are looking. So all that's left to do is to add a score line to the base card. If you don't have a scoring wheel or stylus for your Cricut, you can skip this step. Go into shapes, choose a score line, make it the height of the card, which is 7. Drag a box around that and the base card. Only those two layers should be selected. We've got the line and the square. And then press align, center. That'll put it in the middle. It's not quite ready yet. We need to tell the Cricut we want it to do the scoring on this bit of card. To do that, click the paperclip icon, which is the attach button. That might move it to the top. You can go arrange, center back to put it back to the bottom and drag it back into place. Don't worry a little bit if it's not quite lined up. It will all cut as separate pieces anyway. We know we've got it the right size because you can click on it and see that all of your background pieces should be 5 inches wide if they're touching from one side of the card to the other. And that's it. All that's left to do is save your project, save it before you cut it out because you don't want to lose any of your work. Click save, save as, and give it a name and you'll be able to do that. And then press make, follow the instructions to get everything cut out. I've got my greetings card cut out and ready to show you, but before I do that, these are the 2 original penguins you saw me stick together earlier in this video. And these are the new penguins for my greetings card. You can see just how teeny tiny they are compared to the originals, and the Cricut still cut them absolutely beautifully. For these penguins for my card, I've glued all the pieces. There's no foam squares on them at all because I didn't want my card to get too thick to post. If we look at this one, the original with the foam squares, this is what it looks like with that extra depth in it as I turn it round. Whereas my tiny one for my card without the foam squares, you see it's got a bit less depth in it, but it still looks really layered. Because it's so small, the natural depth of the cardstock makes it thick enough that you can still see it really realistically with the head coming out and the body a little bit more than the feet. And isn't he just the cutest thing? He's so small. Okay, so let's put those two to the side. Bring in the card. I've already folded it down the score line. If you've got a brayer tool or similar, you can go down the score line to get it really crisp. And then my background pieces will be glued on. I'll need to do the bottom bit of snow first so that I then know where to put the top one. And I use this scrap I had of super shiny silver, which is a nice little touch, I think. So bottom first. Line this up along all the edges. Then the top bit. Because of how we cut this in Design Space, it pushes right up against that snowdrift, which makes it look really nice without adding too much bulk to the front of the card. And then I've got my bit of water to go down there. I can't remember on my card design if I had it right at the bottom like this or a little bit further up. And I don't have my computer loaded up to check, but I'm going to put it along the bottom. All right, so that's my card base. Then I got my two penguins. I had the baby one paddling his feet. I think that was right, actually. If it was any higher up, my other penguin wouldn't fit. And I am just going to glue these on. I don't think it needs any foam squares because the depth of all the pieces on the penguins is making them stand out nicely. And I think if I added foam squares, even just one layer underneath that, it might make it too thick to go on a normal letter on our UK postage system. So I'm going to glue. I'm making that commitment. Let's zoom out a bit so we can see the whole card. It's really cute. Okay, baby first. If you wanted to make them into little gifts or Christmas tree decorations, you could add a bit of ribbon on and maybe attach them to your card with some Velcro so they could be taken off. That would be cute. Does mean your card would look a little bit weird once the penguins are removed though. But if they were turned into Christmas tree decorations, they could be brought out year after year. Get lots of use out of them. Big penguin up there. And there we go, there's my greetings card with that little snowy scene in the background just to give it some context, add a little bit more visual interest, and then it's all ready for me to write my message on the inside. If you'd like to make a matching envelope to fit this card, head to the schedule page for the Christmas Craft Countdown and look in the Foundation Learning section at the top of the page. Within there is a link to a separate tutorial on how to make envelopes with a Cricut machine, including a free SVG for making the envelope template. There's also a tutorial in there for how to get your Cricut to write the address on the envelope, so if you've got messy handwriting, the Cricut can do it for you and it will look absolutely beautiful. You can also use it to write message panels to go on the inside of your card too. But for now, that's it for today's countdown post with our adorable little baby penguins and the other penguins, but I do especially like that baby one. If you love these penguins and you want to make similar cardstock designs for different animals, here's how to find them. First, head to craftwithsarah.com, then click on Products over in the top navigation menu. Scroll down the page until you see Themes and click in there, and then under Animals and Birds, look for Cute Animals and tick that. The products will change to filter through and now it shows you just the cute animals. By default, it will show you all types of project, which is why you're seeing lanterns here. To change it to just the layered cardstock, go into Categories and scroll down until you find Layered Cardstock and tick that. And then you'll see just the cute animal layered cardstock designs. Here's a few of them. Aren't they adorable? I did a whole farm collection, which is what you can see now, and then a selection of different animals, dogs, cats, lions, all kinds of different things, and lots more coming soon too. If you're part of Papercraft Porch, my SVG membership, you can download any of the cute animal designs, aside from the penguins from the countdown, with your monthly design credits, which means you can get all these designs at no additional cost. If you're not a Papercraft Porch member, you can purchase the designs for $3 each. To find out more about Papercraft Porch, including all the other amazing benefits that you get, head to craftwithsarah.com/join. I love designing these cute animals. I think they're adorable and so nice to make something really, really small that has so many opportunities for using. If there are any other animal suggestions you can think of, let me know in the comments of this video. I hope that you enjoyed this video on how to make these adorable little penguins for Christmas. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more Cricut crafts and free SVGs. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Bye!